Bummer.
Okay, we're on. Hey, it's Jeanette in a hotel room.
Hillary at home.
Me too.
Eva at the Hinckley building.
So do we just go over our interviews? I didn't.
Yeah, we have questions we need to ask. So what led you to get involved with this organization in the first place?
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Is that okay? Yeah.
Sure.
I did the school board meeting, because my kids are all in school, and that affects me most in my life. Problems for the families in my community are single parents, and I would live in a university town, so there's really people that have lots of money that are like directors and deans and prestigious people that work at the school, and then we have a very small middle class here, and then it's very handsome, and then we have a large lower class, and food is a big problem, like nutrition and it's nutrition, I guess. And we have a big influx. Is another problem is people that move in and move out because of the university, because students move in and they stay for a couple years and they move out, or people coming to work in the university. So the schools either see a ton of kids coming in every year, or they see hardly any kids coming in every year, and then several kids moving away. So it changes dramatically from year to year. How does it help families? They try to fund the schools and to keep the kids so they have nutrition and that the budget is balanced, which I see that's the biggest problem is money in the school board meeting. How do you feel the organization is a child or family focus? It's definitely child focused because the children are in school. That's the kid focused. The organization strengthens children through the schools, and therefore they're trying to get the kids strengthened at the school, and so hopefully they're taking some of that home with them. Sorry, my kids are very distracting. They're jumping around in their swimsuits.
You're okay. You're doing great.
Some other questions. There is for Chapter 10. I talked to her. I talked to the clerk because she seems to know the most, and she's more like the other people are all in meetings and they have like jobs and stuff like that. Like a lot of people in the school board are principals and the superintendent and stuff, so they're completely busy. So I talked to the clerk because she handles all the notes and she's there for every meeting. And so I asked her a bunch of questions. I felt sorry for her. I peppered her full of questions. But she said, they try to focus on the kids. I mean, that's their main focus is children. But what it ends up coming down to is budget and trying to figure out how many kids are coming into the school system, how many kids are leaving. They're trying to move 5th grade out of the elementary school and put it into middle school, but that hasn't worked because there's not a lot of kids went in. Not a lot of kids moved in this year, and they want to move 9th grade back to the high school because the high school has really low, lowest in years of attendance there. They're trying to figure that out. Plus, they're trying to figure out. We have a large problem with bed bugs. I thought they were eradicated. But in Oklahoma we have bed bugs, and so that's another problem that they're dealing with through the schools because of buses and stuff. We don't have a big bus problem, but we have a big nutrition problem. So they're trying to have meals available at certain elementary schools in the summertime and on breaks because of the nutrition of the children and because of the relatively poor overall elementary school children in our neighborhood and in our city. Well, it was like several questions.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess because there's so like really rich people in Stillwater and really poor people, they have a hard time balancing out. And they just built a brand new school, and they're trying to rip down the old school, but they're having problems ripping down the old school. So most of the school board meeting was finances, and more finances, and with the nutrition program. And they also said that usually buses are a big problem, but everybody lives so close, in the city that, like, my kid's school has a pre-K, third, like 3-year-old pre-K to 5th grade, and there's one bus for the entire school because everybody else are walkers or their mom or dad drop them off and pick them up from school. So it's not transportation, it's trying to get all these parents in to drop their kids off and then back out. So it's traffic jams. So I want kids in school. It's easier that way. So.
Cool. So, is that all you have?
Yep, that's it.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Good job. Seriously. I'll go ahead and go next, and I'll be quick. I interviewed a school counselor, and she said that she got involved with school counseling because she did drug and alcohol prevention for a year and a half about 20 years ago, and so she's been working in after she got her master's degree in psychology. She decided to. I think she did like an internship, and it was in school counseling, and she loves the draw of helping children like K through 6, and she likes being in the classroom and like the creative ideas and how to present different ideas and working with individual students and small groups. And I also decided to come up with my own questions because I thought it was more appropriate than the other questions that they have. So in your opinion, what are some of the best community programs available for families and children? Well, we live in Utah, so she said obviously the state, the Utah State has a lot of programs like the CHIP program, which I think is like national. And let's see, she also said there's one called Valley Mental Health, which they come to the schools and they work with families and also do individual counseling, which is free for those families in the neighborhood. We also have a place called the Children's Place, which is also counseling for children with traumatic health issues or family situations. And she also said one of the great things is also the information line, 211. And she said that when she has a question, she'll call them and she'll get a whole list of different resources. So she said that that's a really good like program that's there. And I asked, how does having a counselor at school benefit the children? And she said basically it's a free service. They do lots of prevention. They deal with bullying and conflict management and stress management, working with individuals in a class, and then they do a whole class presentation because even though there is just one student who talks about or like who acts out that they're struggling, there are probably other students in the same class that are struggling with some of the similar issues. And they do class presentations so that way the children don't feel stigmatized and they're not singled out. So you're working with the whole group and not just one person. And I asked, what do you see are the most prevalent problems for families in our community? And she works in a Title I school, which I don't live in a Title I area, but I've had my children attend a Title I school before. And she said one of the main problems that they have is language. And because we live in a very populated Spanish-speaking area, and she said when parents come and they are in survival mode, so they work like 2 to 3 jobs just to keep their things together, and they don't have skills, and because they don't have schooling themselves, like they have cultural issues, and they're very low income. So children who are struggling may have been born and raised in the U.S., but they don't learn English until they come to school because they speak Spanish at home. And she feels that she herself is from I think Denmark, so she's an immigrant, and she had to learn better English when she got here, but she has been here for more than 20 years and thinks that English should be the national language. She doesn't agree with the push 1 for English, push 2 for Spanish. She says that we accommodate too much, and even though like we should make the effort to provide language classes for those who are interested and encourage people to speak English, because she said that in other places, in other countries, they have a national language and everything is done in that language. And anyway, let's see. She said, because she works in 2 different schools, one's on the west side of the city and the other one's on the east side, and the west side is more of a poorer population. She said one of the biggest problems there is trying to get a hold of parents. They can't get a hold of parents. The phones are disconnected, or they give bogus numbers. And some of the good things about the west side is that it's easier to work with the children because parents are more willing to take advice. Like, the parents are here to improve their lives and to make their children's lives better. And so they're more willing to take critiques. And on the east side, she said you can get a hold of the parents and you can work on attendance problem right over the phone. And like, the main problems that they have over there is just attendance typically, and they also have behavioral issues, but not as much. And then another problem is that it's not very easy to work with children on the East Bench because many parents are afraid of being stigmatized, like that your child goes to see a counselor or something like that. And I asked her, at what point, if it ever, does it become necessary to report family issues? And she said, if there's ever a feeling like the child's in danger, sometimes the best way to get the family help is to report them. And since she is a counselor, school counselor, she's required to report it by law. And like, if students are missing a lot of school, they can be taken to court. Like, the parents can be taken to court because that's breaking the law and it's hurting the child. So there are lots of other issues that may be going on and why the child's missing school. Let's see. And I asked if you could offer one suggestion to families to strengthen their children, what would it be? And she said, just be involved. Like, be involved in your child's life. For her, it's sad to see that most children at the Child One school, parents feel that the school is a convenient place to drop off their kids and allow the school to be fully responsible for their children. So, like, she says, all of the kids, many, not all, many of the kids at the Title I school have gadgets, like phones and iPads, and they have nicer phones than she does, probably than I do. And those children go home, over the breaks and stuff, and all they do is they're inside their houses playing TV and video games that are usually violent. And so because their parents are both at work. And so it's good when children go back to school, because then they have a safety net. That's their, like, where they can be cared about. So anyway, those are the questions I asked. So.
Oh, very good. It's interesting, her take on the English press one and for Spanish press two. All countries have a national language. We don't.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because she's an immigrant. Like, that wasn't her first language. Like, English wasn't her first language. And so people think she's white. And so when she talks to people about it, people think she's racist. And she's like, hey, listen, I came from a different place too. And this is the reason that I think it should be the way it is. So anyway. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Chelsea.
All right, I'll go. Okay, so I interviewed a lady that I actually watched her daughter, or used to, but she is involved in the Children's Heart Foundation organization. So I just did the original questions, and I did a couple of my own. But what led her to get involved in the organization in the first place was that when her only daughter, Phoebe is her name, was born, she was born with a heart condition, and so she was just kind of at a loss of what to do. They were scared. It was their first child, so it was. I think they have a hard time getting pregnant too. So they were kind of distraught, and you have to kind of find a place to turn to, and so this the Children's Heart Foundation is what she turned to, and her daughter's 3 now, and so they've been in the foundation for over 3 years, and so now she's kind of worked her way up, and so she's kind of runs part of it. Anyways, and so the next question says, what do you see are the most prevalent problems for families here in the community? And that's what she said, even from her own example. the most problems that she's seeing is like when families are having problems with their kids for whatever needs that their kids are having, is finding places to turn to. It's just like parents kind of are at a loss of where to go, who to turn to, who to trust, that kind of a thing. From her experience, she said that's kind of what she sees the most of. Um, how does the Children's Heart Foundation help children and families locally? So she just said from her own experience, you know, that the Heart Foundation was their lifeline. Like they became their family, their support system, their background. All these other people that were involved in the organization, knew so much about different heart conditions and were able to talk her through things and, like help comfort her during like when Phoebe would have to go to the hospital or, you know, things like that. So she's like, she had people behind her, people who knew things, and people who would love her daughter and then she would turn around and love their kids when they were going through hard times and so forth. um, says, do you feel your organization is child or family focused? In other words, does your organization strive to strengthen the family or to step in to help the child or families are failing? She said both. It does help the child and it helps the family as well. She says that like not that she says she felt like she was failing her child, but she just had done all that she knew to do and didn't know what else she could do to help her kid. And the Children's Heart Foundation like just helped her get those answers to the questions that she had, and ended up helping. It's become a huge family thing for them, and as well, it's helping her kid, and she just worked her way through the organization, and every year, I don't know if you guys know this, but every year they do a Heart Foundation walk. At least I don't know if they do them in every state, but I know that they do one here. And so the last couple of years, I've gone and done the walks and stuff. And so now she's over those walks, planning and preparing them, and as well as like the Children's Heart Foundation camps. It's kind of like um, giving children those opportunities to go do those fun things at camp with all those other kids who kind of have difficulties, physical difficulties, where like going to a camp is for someone who doesn't have those problems is going to be a little bit different. And so now she's in charge of the camp and this Heart Foundation walk and stuff. And she said for her it's kind of a new experience and something that has helped her grow in an area that she never thought she was capable of. And so she totally felt that the organization was definitely child based and family based as well, or focused. And so I asked her a couple more questions because, this is her only child. It's her pride and joy, and she's has her heart condition, so she can. I mean, she looks completely normal on the outside, like you wouldn't know. Sometimes, like when she like is running or playing too hard with the other kids, sometimes her lips will turn blue, like she just like her heart's kind of working too fast and she's not getting enough oxygen. So like we kind of as teachers had to know that, so that when we notice it, we just kind of pull her aside, kind of give her a minute to catch her breath, and then wait till her lips went back to normal, and then we kind of knew she was okay, and then she could go play again and stuff. And she had to wear this heart monitor at times, and so we had to know how to check it and things like that. And so I had asked her what because in our book it talks about childcare and stuff in this chapter, and I had asked her how did she do it? How did she become okay with leaving her daughter with her special need at a daycare facility while she had to go to work all day, because it wasn't necessarily her choice or her first choice. They both have to work to provide, but I just asked her how she felt about that and how she was able to handle it. And she said at first it was really hard on them until she started out in my classroom. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe it was Heavenly Father's doing, but I grew really attached to her child, and I take her out for movie night and little things like that. Even when mom and dad don't need a babysitter, I just she's just kind of become, I don't know, my niece, I guess. But um, so I just have kind of grown attached to her, and I've really grown attached to their family, and I, will help them out and stuff. And so she said for me, when she had made a connection with me and one of the other teachers, that is what made it okay for her. Let she knew her child was going to be cared for, her child was going to be loved and cared about, and that it's what had comforted her leaving her child there, kind of a thing. And then the other question I had asked her, because it talks about creating caring communities in the book and stuff. So I asked her, um, like, how she thought that the Heart Foundation did that for the community, and she just said, kind of like what she was talking about before. It creates a place for um, families and kids to go to in order to get help and still have a fun growing up experience and not always feeling like they're, I don't want to say disability, but but their limitations are holding them back and having them miss out on fun things that other kids aren't having to do. And so she said this foundation is creating a caring community because they do care about the families and the children's needs and how they can help them and have them have a good childhood. But that's it.
That's cool.
Okay, good job. Yeah.
Okay.
This is fun learning like all this stuff, and plus like we did all different people, so it's really cool learning different stuff from.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
if Chelsea has to leave, she has to leave early, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, and then I'll just pop out when I need to. I'll pop into my other class and let them know I'll be a couple minutes late. So go ahead.
Okay. All right.
okay. Sweet. So mine, like I was saying that I interviewed family advocates for the Family Crisis Center here in Rexburg, and her name is Diana. She's really cool. So the questions I asked, what led you to get involved in, organization, family crisis organization, and she said that she's a mom and she has teenage kids, and she has a lot of passion for family, and she knows that family is, kind of like the center of like the community and all that stuff. So she really has that passion to like defend families, and she said that she cares about people a lot, and she loves to help people, she loves to make people feel happy, and so that was one of the reasons why she decided to go into advocating for families. And she also said that the information that um, she receives from the Family Crisis Center is really fulfilling to people, and so she wants to just truly help people. And I think she didn't really go in depth about like her personal like life, but I can tell that she had some pretty rough experience, and because of that, it helped her to just gain that passion to stand out for families. And so the next question was, what do you see are the most prevalent problems for families here in Rexburg, Idaho? And so she said that it's basically education. Like some people, okay, so what they do in the Family Crisis Center, I should have said that. What they do, they help out with child domestic violence. They stop that, and they also help with sexual assault and stalking. So when people are like stalking you, like, creepy people stalking. So that was something that she said the Family Crisis Center does for people, for families. And so she said most people, one of the problems of families is that for domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking is that some people don't know actually when they're being abused or when they're being like stalked or like, when some people are taking advantage of them. So that is something that she feels like is the big problem, and that the main thing that they can do to help people in the community is to educate people and to bring awareness to them, to make them know the things, that the signs, and the body language and all those communication skills that are abusive and that causes domestic violence. So that's one thing that she talked about. And also she said so yeah, she said also that people are more into their business. So she feels like community and society should rise up and to stand up to advocate for other people. There's something that she said that stood out to me. She said victims cannot stop the abuser from the um, assault or whatever that they're experiencing, because they feel a lot of guilt, and they feel a lot of they feel they feel like they don't want to put like their family in trouble or something like that. And so we are the ones that have to step up and help. So like our neighbors, our friends, or if we notice that one of them is being abused and they cannot recognize it, that it's like good to like stand up and help with people like that. And then the next question was, how does family crisis help children and family? So basically, what they do, they connect resources from, like, let's say a family is having like a problem. Let's say a woman is being abused, and it's really, really bad. Like she has to leave the house. So what they do, they take her out of the house, and when they take her out of the house, they connect her to like housing resources, or like they can also connect her to like job opportunities. They can also connect her to like counselors in the community and stuff like that. So basically what they do, they just connect you to like a bunch of resources that you really had no idea that could help. And if the family too is also going through like poverty, they also have like thrift stores, and they have food banks too that can help the family, like a single mom and her children, to become stable before she can start helping herself. So that's something. And then the next question was, do you feel the Family Crisis Center helps with strengthening families, or step in to help children where families failing? And so basically what she said they don't really step in to like help out for children. They don't really do that. But something that they do is that they have children support group, that kind of like the mom and the child, they come into the family crisis center, and the child is like given taken to a different room, and they read with the children and help them like if they have questions. And at the same time, when the children are in a different room, the parents or the mom is in a different room being helped or counseled or stuff like that. But something that they said is that they don't really help out. They don't really have programs for children. But what they do, they make sure that they report any child abuse. So that's something that they really, really have to do. Like if they find out that a child is getting abused, they will make sure that they report the child to the health and welfare program, and then the health and welfare program will take that and they'll start like investigating to find out if the child is truly being abused. But basically, they don't really step in to like help out the child or counsel the child or anything. And so the last question was ask two or more questions about the chapter. And so I asked like, what are some programs that they need, like if parents are not helping, no, or if parents lack the education to help their child, do they have resources for that? And so she said, yeah, that they actually have a lot of resources for that. They have parental classes. They have also like a list of like places that in Rexburg that they can be able to have like seminars and stuff like that to help parents to know how to raise their children. And basically what she said that the Family Crisis Center is just there to make sure that people are aware of the negativity going on in their lives, because a lot of the times like victims and people like that, they're so scared to stand up and to like stand up for against their, what do you call it, abuser. So they just help out the best way they can and help the woman and the family realize that it's okay to stand up. She said something also that stood out to me. She said, if you truly love someone, you hold them accountable to be able to know that being abusing someone is not good, or like, taking advantage of people is not good. So for example, if her husband is like being abusive to the child, like should make sure not being too loving and, oh my gosh, I don't want to like put him through all this stress and like he might get arrested and stuff like that. She said it's actually good to see it the opposite way, make him more aware that what he's doing is wrong. So, yep.
Okay. Thank you, Eva.
That's awesome.
That was really good, yeah. What is one thing that you guys learned that you didn't know before after doing these interviews?
I can go first. Um, basically, what I learned, what she said was that we should strive to, like, the victims, they cannot stand against their abusers. So it's good to step in. As much as we want to, like, stay out of our business and, just like, it's their problem. But it's good to step in because the victim, they're so vulnerable and they don't know how to help themselves. And they feel like if they stand up for themselves, their world is going to come to an end. But really, when we step in and we help out, it's actually, not holding them to accountable, but helping them solve their problems. So.
I just think it was interesting you said that most people don't know that they're being abused, that education is a big problem. And yeah, I think it goes back to the like the generational, it's handed down generation to generation. And bye, Chelsea. Thanks for coming. And that the abuser doesn't know that he's abusing because that's, or he or she, I guess, doesn't know because that's how they were treated. And I think, like, my father was abusive to us, and I think that's just how he was raised because my grandma is the same way. And it goes to generation to generation. And my sister, unfortunately, has made some poor choices, and she's gotten in trouble too because of what she was taught, and she hasn't realized that that's abuse, that's neglectful to her children. She doesn't get it. She's like, well, that's the way I was raised, and I'm fine. And talking to the lady, her name is Annette, which was hilarious because I'm like, hi Annette, this is Jeanette, which is always really funny because nobody has names that are remotely similar to mine. So she thought that was funny too. And then her last name is German too, so it was really, anyways, it's funny. And she said that she got into this because she kind of fell into it because she was mom, and she was started to go to the meetings, and they realized that she was in the meetings, and one thing led to another. But I thought was interesting is that she said this is horrible, but they talk about money all the time, and that's unfortunately that's what it comes down to is they need X amount of money for everybody, and they're having to juggle money and cut costs here and cut teachers here and cut this and cut that, and they want to focus on other things like prevention and education and abuse awareness, and they have these big campaigns about anti-bullying and stuff, and they like to spend more time on talking about those and like the good stuff, but they end up spending their time talking about money and budget and how to cut costs and not what they want to talk about, but they end up talking about it anyways. So, kind of a bummer that they
Did you get a chance to watch the Superman movie?
I watched that. I watched the whole thing, and then I saw that we didn't have to watch it. Like, oh well.
Well, except do you know that our Penzu journal writing this week is based on that movie?
Oh really? No, I haven't looked at it yet. I haven't looked.
So it's a good thing you watched it because I emailed her and I was like, clarification is needed.
Yeah. I was looking for it today. I haven't found the movie.
You know what? I was able to find that under the post is that she was trying to talk to everybody about it on, and she posted a link to it. Let me see if I can show you, or at least show you where it's at. And let's see, 460. This class is 460, right?
Yep. They said in the movie, they said that I forget how many years ago we spent $4,000 per student and now today we spend about 8 or 9,000 per student, and there's like, it seems like it has gotten worse. Like, where is all this, like, twice as much? Where is this money going? You think our scores would be higher? You think we'd have, you know, less abuse and more education about all the programs you can get? Like what Chelsea was saying is, like, if you have a problem, I bet, like, Phoebe's mom felt like my child has a heart defect. Well, I wouldn't know even where to turn to. You know, who do you talk to? You talk to the kid's school, you talk to the kid's doctor, you talk to, like, how do you find that out? You go online and you Google it? I mean, why is education so hard to find, like the programs and stuff so hard to find when they're all out there and they're free? Like, even you were saying, like, counseling and stuff for the kids and other free programs. Why do we not know about these? Why is it?
Yeah.
I mean, was it stigmatized where all my kids go to counseling? You know, so I don't want my kids to go to counseling.
I don't know, but I was going to talk about the Superman movie. Like, I watched the whole thing, too, and I was surprised to see that they documented that before, you know, we spent so much. And I understand inflation and all that crap, but, like, we spent so little on education, and they were doing so much better, like, then than they are now. Like,
we went to the stinking moon.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And I thought, oh, my gosh, like, what a broken system. Eva, if you look under the notes from instructor on lesson 10,
okay,
you'll see that Sister Meeker put up her, you know, questions, and then Jody, and then Sister Meeker, and then Sister Meeker, and then Kelly White, and you have to open them all up because it's right underneath Kelly White's name, and she says the movie's still on the Waiting for Superman page, and you have to click that link, and it will bring you to the movie. So.
Okay, so Kelly White.
Yeah, it's Kelly White. So you have to go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Let me close Sister Maker. Oh, okay, so, oh yeah, so it's under the first one, I think. Is that how you got to it? Jeanette?
I found it when I read it. I watched it Sunday afternoon, and it was on just that link, the basic page.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and that's where I saw it. And then later I went back to that same link because that's where I saw it, and it was gone. So I don't know where it went, but it was on that it was on the waiting. It was under, like, the folder Waiting for Superman, and then it was the next folder down. It was the link to it.
Really? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was able to find it underneath the, what is it called? If you look under the discussion board, she did it twice. She put the link up there twice. And so that's how I found it, because by the time I got there, it was already taken off. But then I asked her about underneath the Waiting for Superman folder is the Penzu Journal, and it says, for this particular entry, pay special attention to all of your readings and the documentary Waiting for Superman. And now that you've watched it, make sure to answer each of these questions in your journal entry. So, because I emailed her and I just asked, let's see, I said, will you just clarify the questions that were given, like, are they based on the Superman movie? And she said, yes, the journal entry this week should be based on the Superman. And then she asked if I was able to access the movie. So it's just kind of weird that they would take it off and then they still want you to answer these questions based on it. Because the questions themselves, it talks about the effectiveness of the organization, and when I was reading through the questions, I thought, what organization are they talking about? Like, are they talking about the Superman movement? Like, are they talking about the organization that put the film together? Like, are they talking about, like, so I'm just gonna...
Well, it was like
the questions is, I think...
It seems like I think, how I understood it is that they changed some stuff, and so when she has to submit stuff for them to change, but they still... Like, it was confusing, and it didn't go smoothly because they changed stuff from last semester to this semester, and so that's what happened. I mean,
and that's totally cool. It's just that I didn't understand that Like people couldn't access the movie, and then you still have to answer those questions based on the movie.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
So, is that it for these interviews? Do you guys have anything else to add?
No, I don't think so.
No, it was a good experience. But
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed hearing everybody else's kind
yeah,
of
it was awesome.
stuff too.
So cool to hear other people's experiences.
Yeah. Well, I like
Yeah.
how most of them kind of, that they didn't set out to do what they're doing. Did you notice that? Like, they didn't
Oh
set out.
yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of, like, quote unquote, like, fell into it.
Mhm.
But yet they're doing something so very beneficial to society that you often wonder. I know, like, counselors and like doctors and stuff go to school to become a doctor to help people, and like psychologists and stuff. But these people are advocates. They didn't really go to school thinking, one day I'm going to, be the clerk for this, the student, for the school board. It's something that they followed their path and that sort of thing. So and I talked to other. We have here at Oklahoma State University, they have a big marriage and family therapy program, or not big, but several members of the church are doctors and teach in that program. So I asked him, like how many students or advocates and stuff, and he said that actually like that's what they chose to do for a job or a career or just like on the side, and he says nobody. And I said, what? And he says, well, unless you went to school like him, he has a PhD in marriage and family. He says, but all other support staff and advocacy people and even in the community did not like search out to specific
that profession.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool that they kind of everybody that we talked about tonight kind of fell into it in their own way.
Yeah.
Not really. This is my mission, I'm going to do it. So it's just cool how Heavenly Father just guides us to where we need to be at any specific time.
True. Cool.
Oh, and I have a really cool story to tell you. Okay, so it's spring break for us, the kids, and so everybody's gone. And so our neighbors, I take care of their 3 cats, their lovebird, their lemon trees, their mail, and their garbage while they're gone. I've done this several times before. And I went to, they have indoor cats, and they have a parakeet. I think it's a lovebird, or it is a lovebird, I guess. And I go to change the parakeet's water, or the lovebird's water. I always want to call it parakeet, but my daughter says it's a lovebird. Melly. And the bird got out of the cage.
Oh no.
And they let it out, like they let it out to fly around and stuff like that. But I didn't want to leave for like 12 hours. Or, more than that, like 24 hours, and let the bird out of the cage because I figured the cats were going to eat it, right?
Oh
they have
no.
to leave them in the house. So I'm like, what do I do? So I'm like trying to, the bird sits on my head, and I'm putting my finger up, and like the bird stands on my finger, so I like slowly put her back in the cage, and she flies away. And then, okay, so I stand there, and I wait for then I'm like, okay, so I'll try it. She lands on the bed, so like I try to throw a towel over the bird to catch the bird, to grab it, to put it. I don't want to hurt it, and this is like their prized, like he says.
Pride and joy.
Yes, he says, let the cats die, let the lemon trees die, but don't do anything to the bird. I'm like, great, so I'm going to kill their bird while they're around. So I text my husband. He's outside with all the kids. They're jumping on the trampoline. I'm like, the bird got out. What do I do? And he's like, maybe he'll find. No, I'm thinking maybe he'll have something. No, he said everything I already did, and I'm like, it's like almost 7 o'clock at night. It's getting dark outside. I'm like, the kids need to go home and like have dinner and blah blah blah. And I don't know what to do. I'm just standing there like completely like I just want to scream or cry. I'm getting like frustrated. And so I was like, Heavenly Father, please help me. You know what happened. That bird flew in the cage and I shut the door.
Oh my gosh.
Like, why did I not pray right away? Why do I have to keep relearning the same lesson over and over again? It makes me crazy. But
so
prayers are answered no matter how ridiculous they are. Really weird. But
that's awesome.
So, that's my little.
What a great example.
That's my.
I remember that from now on.
That's my. Please learn from my mistakes.
Oh man. Oh, that's awesome.